Oh, wait. There we go. Look at that.
Try crappy right there.
Whoop, whoop, bam. Welcome back to another episode of the Juggalo Fishing Posse. I am your host, Gillz. Alright guys, we're going to head on down to the creek here in just a second. We're going to be trying out a drop shot lure. For those of you who don't know what a drop shot lure is, it's basically where you're working the bottom, same as you would like a rubber worm or a jig or something, but your weight is at the bottom of your line and your lure is suspended on the hook, you know, however far up off the bottom you want to rig it. But yeah, your weight is sat on the bottom and your lure is up above that, more or less, generally speaking. We're going to go try that real quick, and when we come back, we're going to go over some of my favorite lures to throw in the wintertime. So let's get on down, see if we find anything. Peace.
Alright. Got my pole. Daddy's pole, that's right. Alright, you ready? Let's walk. Come up here with me. You gotta stay over here up against this thing. Come on. You gotta walk fast. So we're burning daylight. Alright, crawl up under. Crawl up under. There we go. Awesome. Good job. It's real simple, guys. Kind of pinch on stacked sinkers there with that little fluke looking drop shot lure. We're gonna give it a shot, see if there's any bass in here that want to bite. Try relatively close. Try a little bit further out. Well, I'm not getting anything to go for this particular thing. Let's make a change. Well, before we downsize too much, let's wacky rig a Senko, or a type of Senko. I can't even remember what kind this is. It is a smaller version. I was afraid it was going to be like this over here, dead as a doornail. I'm sure all the bass have moved over to that swamp system over there. Nothing on the drop shot so far. What should we try? We could try one of these on a drop shot. I've never done that, but heck, it ain't gonna hurt.
Well, guys, not a whole lot at the creek. I probably, I kind of knew that I probably wasn't going to get any luck down there because it being cold, early winter, coming in, it's just, the bite's terrible, and the creek fishing is just not where it's at right now. Anyway, guys, we tried the drop shot rig out. You got to see, you know, generally what it was all about, how to work it. Really simple stuff. You just, like I said, you let your weight stay in contact with the bottom. You just free float your lure up above the weight, jiggle it a little bit, and just slowly work back towards you. And it did not produce anything. Now, like I said, I generally don't like tying on a drop shot rig. Any of you guys out there who are having trouble fishing this cold weather, like me, we're going to go over a couple of lures over here that I specifically like to throw in the winter time. So let's go ahead and get started with that. First off, we'll go over the rattle traps. Rattle traps, lipless crankbaits. Those I like to throw. These are a lot of beads in there, really loud, but these will catch fish. I have caught this one in particular. The eyeball is coming off on that side, but I have caught many a fish on this cheap little Walmart brand, Ozark Trail brand lipless crank. It's really flashy. It's without being, you know, obnoxiously colored. Very loud and sinks very, very quickly. So it allows you to work the bottom as best you can. You try to keep your rod tip up a bit to keep it out of the grass and out of the junk on the bottom, because you will lose these very easily. But yeah, for the winter time, working them a little bit slower than usual, keeping them, you know, just above the grass line and stuff on the bottom, those tend to work sometimes, so you could always try that. Now, crankbaits. You can do crankbaits. You have to try a different retrieve sometimes, slow it down, add a couple of pauses in there, especially if you have like a suspending one. You don't really want to go for like a whole bunch of really loud colors. That's never, or at least that's never worked for me in the winter time. You want to get something white, black, gray, natural, you know, colors. This one here is good, the yellow perch pattern. Really good ones to use. This one's actually silent, but yeah, like these smaller crankbaits, give it a couple of pauses, get it, you know, reel it down to where you need it to be, pause, reel, pause, reel, pause, change your retrieve up a little bit, give plenty of pauses in there, because these fish, these bass in this cold water, they're not really going to want to pursue and chase your lures and stuff. They're really lethargic, they're really slowed down, and you're gonna have to put some stuff right in front of their face a lot of times to get them to bite. But like I said, during your retrieve, when throwing a crankbait, just like I said, change your retrieve up a little bit, add a whole bunch of pauses in there, give those bass time to capitalize on it. Jerk baits, same as the crankbaits, they can work really well, but once again, a lot of long pauses, like even up to like 8 to 10 second pauses, especially with a good, you know, a good suspending jerk bait. Really want to work it slow. Give it a couple of pops and just let it sit, let it, you know, slowly sink, and, you know, like I said, give those bass time to come up to it and attack it. You just gotta, like I said, you really gotta slow your retrieve down when you're working movement baits and stuff like that. So like I said, try the jerk baits. They will still work. Like I said, just slow it down just a little bit, same as the others. Now, working the bottom, you can still catch fish with a jig. You can still definitely do that, like this little hybrid type flipping jig right here. Really simple. You work it about the same. You just, hop it across the bottom, give it a couple of long pauses, give it a couple of little twitches, to keep it stationary. Just anything that you could do to keep it in the bite zone for as long as possible. Like I said, you may have to find where these fish are. You may have to put a lure or a bait right in front of their face to get them to hit it. And sometimes even then, it won't make them bite. But like I said, you're working a jig or working a bottom, slow it down, really slow, jiggle it in front of their faces, and you can still catch fish on it. It's not really my go-to thing for the winter, but I will still do it occasionally if nothing else is working, just to go through my whole bag of tricks. But like I said, you can give that a shot. It's not as good as others. One of my favorite lures to work in the wintertime is going to be the fluke. The fluke baits, I love these things so much. It's basically a soft plastic jerk bait. You can work it the same as a jerk bait, except it has, a sink to it. And you can really, depending on how you work it, you can really make these things look like a dying minnow or a dying shad. And in the wintertime, that's kind of what these bass and catfish and everything are gorging on, is all of these bait fish who are, dying off. They're just cruising around finding all these, dying bait fish and just gulping them up. And these things work great. Again, you want to use a natural color like a ghost color, bone, these, green, colors here. They tend to work really well. Go with a natural color. You don't want anything too out there. You don't want a whole lot of chartreuse colors and a bunch of bright, obnoxious stuff. It's really not, in my opinion, it's not going to help you as much. But yeah, get out there, throw on a fluke, give it a couple of aggressive twitches, pause it, let it sit, let it sink. Really make it look like, it's a dying bait fish. That's what you're really going for with these. And I like, usually the winter time is when these things shine. 'Tis the season for the fluke right now. So in the next handful of vids, if you see me with a fluke on the end of my rod and nothing else, that's why. Just because the fluke generally gives me the best results in the winter time. So as far as like the best one, or like in my opinion the best, flukes are the way to go. A little more simple, but I'm sure some of you have already used, are spoons. Got a couple of little like off-brand spoons here. That one's a little rusty. I've got like this really generic little spoon. Castmaster style spoons work really well, especially if you're trout fishing. Like trout fishing now is a little bit better than going out and trying to hunt for bass in open water, going up to the mountains and tossing into some rivers and stuff. These Castmasters and spoons, and even the inline spinners, they tend to work pretty good for trout. And like I said, there's trout season is upon us here, and I think there's going to be another hatchery release here soon. I'm not 100% sure. I need to look up the schedule. But yeah, spoons, really simple. They flutter, they give off a shine, and like I said, you work them just right, make it look like a fluttering, dying bait fish, and you too can catch some fish on some spoons. So go out there and give them a shot. I know that they're kind of simple, they're kind of basic, but like, I ain't too proud to throw a spoon. I'm not too proud to throw something simple, you know what I mean? It ain't got to be complicated for everybody. I'm not a pro, and I'm sure like plenty of you are not pros. So go out there and do something simple, do something tried and true and is known to catch fish. Because like this time of year, like you really really need to take what you can get, even if it's just a little bluegill. Like, you'd be happy that you caught that bluegill, because a lot of us aren't catching anything right now, and it's frustrating. Of course, you know I like my Senko, my Yamamotos. There's plenty of other off brands out there, like like one of my subscribers said last time, the Yum Dingers. Like, if you're not familiar with those, it's pretty much the same as a Gary Yamamoto Senko stick bait. It's basically the exact same thing, has the exact same action for like half the price. So for all you bargain shoppers out there, all you poor scrubs like myself, go out and get you a pack of Yum Dingers. They work just as well as these, and they get bites, period. Like, a lot of the off-brand Senko type baits, they produce about the same in my experience. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, only go get Gary Yamamoto, you know. Like, it's just do what works for you. I just happen to have a small surplus of these, which is why I'm showcasing it. But we went over the Senko enough. Drop shot rigs, which tend to work well. You can work it slow in the water, dangle it in some fish's faces. There's a whole bunch of different lures. This one right here was the Shimmer Shad, I believe. It's been through hell. The eyes are gone. But like this little thing, the lure of 1,000 fish or something like that. I think this thing's only caught like 3, but still, that's what the package claims. No. Anyway, work stuff like this on a drop shot works great. Things like these little robo worms with the little paddle tails, stuff like that. This works great as a drop shot rig. A lot of action on this little guy. Now these little fluke style, like the singular tail fluke, like these work great as a drop shot lure. Got plenty of bites and plenty of stuff on these little things. Like I said, even though I'm not big on throwing a drop shot rig, really great drop shot lure right there. And I will also throw a Ned rig around, just because, I mean, I like Ned rigs. I really do. They work well. You can work them slow. You can work them fast. You know, skip them across the bottom, and they give that really nice, you know, upright appearance in the water like that. Really good versatile bait. This really good to use, in my opinion, year round. You just have to bear in mind location when you're working something like that. I mean, like I said, guys, those are just, you know, an assortment of my favorites and what I like to throw in the winter time. Now, occasionally you'll see me throw on like a swim bait that I can work really slow, kind of like, you know, we was talking about the lipless cranks. You know, you work it slow and you drag it just across the bottom, just up above any grass that might be sitting on the bottom. And that usually, you'll see me do that, you know, from time to time during the winter. But generally, the ones that I've shown, those are my go-to lures. We're gonna have to get creative here pretty soon and do something, because like I said, these the creek fishing videos and stuff that everyone has liked thus far, it's going to be slow on that for a while, because the winter time now, like, they're changing their patterns. All of the bait fish are moving out of the creeks and out of the streams and moving out to deeper water, and obviously the fish who eat those are going to be following them. So everything is moving off, going further out, finding that deeper water, that warmer water in there, and really that's what I think the fishing really boils down to year round, no matter what the conditions are. Like, period. If you're out there trying to find fish and you can't, your goal needs to be to find the thermocline. You have to find that level where the water changes, you know, and the pressure and everything is being put, you have to find that sweet spot. That's where the bait fish are going to be, and that's where your predator fish and your game fish is going to be looking for those bait fish. Anyway, guys, that was a collection of my favorite lures to throw in the winter. Get out there and try to get some. Throw them out. Go catch you a fish, man. Get out there and go do stuff, because it really doesn't pay to just sit around on your butt looking at your phone, looking at your computer, playing your video games. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a big gamer, or at least I used to be, and my wife will tell you, like, I'm the type of gamer who will, like, I have to have at least like 18 hours to dedicate to a video game when I turn it on, otherwise there's no point in turning it on. I get like so into it, you know, into the story or whatever, and you could be like shooting at me from 3 feet away, and I'll just like pay you no attention whatsoever. My wife will have a full-fledged conversation with me, and I'll just yeah, like not hearing a word she's saying. But yeah, guys, it doesn't pay to just sit on your butts. Get up, get out, put a pole in your hand and go catch some fish. Even if it's cold, put on a coat. Go do something, man. Like, get out, experience some life, experience a little bit, have some fun, and enjoy what this awesome, magical world has to offer. Alright, real quick before we get off, we're going to go ahead and do a quick subject of real talk. Today's real talk topic is going to be about, let's just talk about the new YouTube rules and regulations and junk like that. Specifically about this new crap that they've added with the COPPA laws, whatever you want to call it. This child protection junk, and making all of us creators, you know, have to indicate whether or not our channel is made for children. Now, I know I've got like some video game characters and stuff like that in the background. I've got a picture up here that my daughters drew for me for Father's Day. I've got some kid-friendly stuff over here, I guess you could call it, but those are just my personal interests. Like I said, I like video games, so screw off. But like, either way, like don't you think like the people who are constantly monitoring like all of this stuff can like decide for themselves whether or not it's meant for children? Like, it's not, I mean, I don't mind having to hit yes or no, you know what I mean? But like, so many people are like freaked out thinking that, oh god, this is gonna change everything and they're gonna like demonetize my stuff because I show my children and stuff like that. And well, let me just go ahead and say this right off the bat, I'm not too worried about it. Yes, my kids do show up in my videos occasionally, but they are not paid actors, they are not child actors, you know what I mean? Like, they're my kids, and occasionally I take them out and go fishing. I don't always record it, but every once in a while I'll make an episode with my kids, you know, going fishing with me. And that's just me being a dad, taking my little girls fishing. That's not me saying, hey, kids, come watch this, you know? Like, I understand the reasoning behind these rules and why, you know, generally we need to protect children. Because, I mean, there are people out there who are trying to sell stuff, you know, to kids. Like, I mean, that's, you know, American commercialism. It's always been okay up until now. I mean, what with all the Toys R Us commercials and bull crap like that comes on, Play-Doh and Play-Doh sets and Barbie dolls and junk like that. What's wrong with that now? Anyway, but yeah, like I said, I'm not worried about it, guys. Like, I'm a Juggalo fishing channel. Now, fishing may, you know, pertain to some kids out there. Like, some kids might be, you know, influenced to go out and catch fish, and, you know, honestly, I think that's a good thing. I'm not trying to sell fishing to kids, you know. The bottom line is, It's a Juggalo-based channel. Do you really think that that's suitable for kids like this? Like I'm gearing this towards children? Fuck no. It's a Juggalo channel. Like, I'm a Juggalo. My kids, I don't like subject them to absolutely everything in the Juggalo world. Juggalos as a whole, there's a whole lot of like not kid-friendly stuff revolved around that. You know what I mean? Like, how could you even ask a Juggalo channel, are you made for kids? No, I'm not made for kids, you moron. I don't know, it's just some things we have to be iffy about as creators now, and some things, you know, we have to draw a line into where, you know, what's okay and what's not okay, and I can understand that. Like I said, I understand all of that. I understand the rules. There's people out there trying to sell stuff to kids and gear everything straight towards children. I get that. There's people out there who are trying to, you know, associate with kids and make kid-friendly stuff in order to prey upon kids, you know, like pedophiles and whatnot. I understand that, you know, all that stuff is bad, but like instead of punishing everyone, like, why don't we just start chopping peckers off instead of like punishing everybody who's just trying to, you know, pursue a dream or a hobby, you know, like this is. It's not freaking geared towards children. I'm not trying to molest children. I'm not trying to sell stuff to children. It's a Juggalo fishing show. I like to go fishing. I happen to be a Juggalo clown. It's not made for kids. Is any of this stuff really necessary? Is YouTube more or less overreacting like most companies do, I guess? Like they overreact and they overcorrect. And I don't know, I feel like all of this was something that could have been done a little differently, but it's whatever. I mean, I don't run YouTube. I'm just a guy who puts videos on it. So let me know what you guys think. And also, if I pissed any of you people off, I think I actually lost a couple of subscribers because one of my videos recently was pegged, you know, for adults only. Like, and literally that was only because that I was, you know, doing some slurs, dropping a couple of F-bombs and stuff like that, and kind of getting, you know, relatively nasty towards some people. But it just, you know, like that right there, obviously it's understandable. Like I said, things that we got to go through, there's some things that are okay and some things that aren't. And if I'm dropping a whole bunch of F-bombs and talking a whole bunch of nasty talk and junk like that, yeah, like, I'm sorry if it offends you or if it pisses you off that you're not able to watch it because it has, you know, excess foul language in it. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you're not 18 and you're watching a Juggalo based anything, you probably shouldn't be watching it, man. I mean, that's just like, why is it our job to control what your children watch? That's my, you know, basis of this whole real talk. Why is it my job to control what your kids view? Like, I shouldn't have to be like, oh, only kids, you know, 18 and up can watch this, you know, anybody below that, you can't watch this, it's a no-no, it's bad. Like, why don't you pay attention to your kids? Why don't you pay attention to what they're looking at on their phones? Instead of just buying them a smartphone because they're whining, all of the other kids have one at school. When I was growing up, you didn't have phones at school. And if you did, it got taken away. And you didn't get it back at the end of the day. Your parents got it back at the end of the year. And that's if it survived. Like, but yeah, now it's just like you walk into a classroom and all the kids are just... Either way, like I said, parents, guardians need to take responsibility for what their kids view. It's the way it was growing up with me. Like, when I was 7, 8 years old, I wasn't allowed to watch Beavis and Butthead. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't allowed to watch, you know, all this different crap. I mean, like, my parents made sure that we didn't. You know, they paid attention to us. It's kind of like the equivalent of like driving through a suburban neighborhood and you see those signs out there at the mailboxes that say, drive like your kids live here. First of all, I'm not driving through your house. I'm driving on a public road. And second of all, instead of me driving slower to get to my destination, why don't you not let your kids play in the streets? Why don't you, like, pay attention to your kids? If you're sending them outside to get out of your hair, watch them. Don't just send them outside and shut the door and then go about your business. That's being a terrible parent. Just saying. Like, how about you pay attention to your kids and don't tell me how to drive? I don't know. Anyway, guys, that's enough of that. Let me know what you guys think. Get in the comments. Clickety-click. Type. Interact with me. You know how it goes. And for all of you pecker pimples out there who were pissed off because like some of my videos are only adults only and I can't watch it, so I'm unsubscribing. I don't care, bro. I don't really care. Like, I'm doing this for fun right now. To me, this ain't about numbers. Numbers are good. That's great. You always want numbers. You want people to see your stuff and enjoy it. But it's entertainment, guys. That's what this is all about. And I'm not here to entertain your underage children. Like, that's the point of the matter. Like, everybody else needs to take responsibility for that crap. Not me. I'm putting out stuff that I like and that I know some other people like. And you are the guys that I'm doing this for. It ain't for your kids. It ain't for people who shouldn't be watching this. Because, I mean, there are people who shouldn't watch this. That's just how it is. But anyway, guys, we're going to cut it off there because I'm tired of talking. I need to get in here and go do something productive myself. Hope you guys liked it. I'm sorry we had to do mostly in-home talking episode, but that's just the way it is, guys. Like I said, not going to sugarcoat it. This winter's probably going to be hell. This will be my first winter season doing this YouTube fishing thing, so it's probably going to be hell. Bear with me. I'm going to try to come up with as much content as I possibly can. Probably going to have to get a little creative, but just bear with me, and hopefully we'll reap some rewards and see this thing through. Anyway, guys, I'll let you guys go. Thank you for watching so much from the bottom of my heart. All my Juggalo fishing fam, all my Juggalo fam out there, and everyone who's not part of the Juggalo fam and still watches, you guys are as much fam to me as anybody else. I love all you folks. Anyways, whoop whoop, tight lines, sharp hatchets. I'll catch you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Whoop whoop!